And that is why you're watching this guide. Before we jump right into it, I just want to say this is going to be a fairly lengthy guide due to the fact that it's in-depth. So for those of you with a short attention span that don't think you're actually going to be able to make it through this entire video, or maybe you're just looking for some specific information, go ahead and look in the description. Yeah, you know that thing that most people tend to skip. And from there, you'll actually see timestamps. They're conveniently located there and let you know exactly where to look for whatever you might be looking for. So one of the first things we're going to discuss is what exactly is Pokemon Go? Well, Pokemon Go is a game that has done more for childhood obesity and getting people active in the past few days than the US government has done over the past few years. It's a mobile game from Niantic Labs, creator of Ingress, that takes the classic video game franchise and overly simplifies it. You remember Pokemon, right? That game that most of society deemed was for children only, and no mature adult would ever be caught playing. Yet create an app similar to it and everybody loses their mind! Don't believe me? Just go ahead and look up the hashtag Pokemon Go, or even check out on YouTube where you can see just groups of people just coming together en masse in certain areas just to be able to catch Pokemon. And with Pokemon Go, you use your cell's data connection and the GPS to move around in the real world to hunt down Pokemon, catch them, train them, evolve them, and battle the gyms. Unfortunately for Niantic Labs is they did not really take into consideration how many people would actually be jumping on Pokemon Go on the day of release. The game's not without its issues, but thankfully Niantic Labs is aware of most of them and doing the best they can to go ahead and resolve it. Some of them self-inflicted, some of them they didn't realize until they kind of just started popping up. The most common issue known is of course the server offline. You might see it nowadays, but chances are it's more likely just a glitch, and if you force close your application and open it up again, you'll be fine. But you're always welcome to go ahead and check out Twitter or just other forms of social media, and most people will definitely let you know if the servers are indeed down. Another known issue, which is almost as bad as the servers being offline, is known as the spinning ball of death. You'll sometimes see this appear near the top left corner of your screen, and if you're in the middle of catching a Pokemon, it means there's a pretty good chance you just lost it. Another issue is battery drain. Niantic is currently trying to resolve the issue and is aware of it, but the current workaround is to go ahead and lower your phone's display lighting, go ahead and uncheck music and sound effects, disable AR. I know it's a fun feature, but you know, you still get a cool background to catch your Pokemon with, and you also want to try and enable power saving mode. Enough with the sad stuff and on to the fun stuff. Trading is actually going to be coming soon on one of the legendary battles that you saw like in that Pokemon Go reveal video where everybody's in Times Square battling off against the Mewtwo, then if you beat it in time you actually get to catch it, so be sure to keep a lookout for that. Battling other trainers outside of the gym is in the works, but it's still more likely not going to be out until the far off future. The game starts off with you meeting Professor. What are those? You're given a basic character creation where you can choose your character's gender with the classic are you a boy or are you a girl? You can choose the skin colors, it's 3 different kind of hats, shirts, backpacks, and so on. From there, you're given 20 Pokeballs and told to choose between the 3 first-generation Pokemon, which would be Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. Not happy with your choices? Tell the game to kick rocks and roam around. After the starters disappear about 4 times, the 5th time they reappear, a Pikachu will appear along with them. It's funny because it's almost like the game is just getting sick and tired of you. It's like, what? You don't like the original 3 Pokemon? What is there something else you want? What about Pikachu? You love Pikachu. Everybody loves Pikachu. Fine! Just take the Pikachu already! Fuck!
Language!
Sorry, Captain. And one of the first things that Professor Willow talks to you about is PokeStops. Let me tell you right now, PokeStops are going to be your bread and butter when it comes to obtaining items and sticking it to the microtransaction man. Some areas have more PokeStops than others, but when you get close enough to a PokeStop, you can go ahead and tap onto it, and then go ahead and spin the little dial in either direction, and then you'll get Pokeballs as well as just other items, especially as you level up. And like I said, as you get higher levels throughout the game, there'll be other items that pop up besides just Pokeballs. You'll also see raspberries, which for single throw makes it easier to catch a Pokemon. You'll get potions, revives, and so on. At level 12, you actually get the possibility of getting Great Balls from PokeStops, and at level 20, you also have the possibility of getting Ultra Balls. A good thing to remember is that PokeStops actually refresh every 5 minutes, so definitely take advantage of that, especially if there's a lot of PokeStops in the area. There are other items that you'll notice as you play throughout the game, such as incubators, incense, lure modules, and lucky eggs. They're typically rewarded at certain levels. There's absolutely no excuse to use the shop, and doing so will be greatly frowned upon. Shame! Actually, you know what? Incubators can be excused sometimes, because it's nice to have multiple eggs hatching at once. Even then, you don't need to buy Pokecoins because you can go ahead and slowly earn them by having your own Pokemon defending gyms, but I'll go over that a little bit more later. Alright, now onto the most important aspect of the game, that's how to find Pokemon. Just like PokeStops, some areas are more likely to have Pokemon than others. I mean, typically the best place to go hunting would either be at very popular places that have lots of shops and so on, landmarks, parks, and other points of interest, versus your own neighborhood may have only just a few or maybe even none. Just like the handheld Pokemon games, seeing grass kind of just shoot up on your map tends to mean that there is a chance of finding Pokemon nearby. It's not guaranteed like you think it would be. This is regardless if the nearby screen says if there's any Pokemon that are close by or not. Another helpful way of finding Pokemon is on the bottom right hand corner, you'll have a little screen that shows you all the Pokemon that are nearby. Now what you'll notice is underneath each little silhouette, or if you already caught a Pokemon, the visual of the Pokemon, there'll be a set of tracks. Now if you have 3 tracks, that means it's the furthest possible away. 2 tracks means you're getting closer, 1 track even closer than that, and 0 tracks means you're practically right on top of it. If you don't see it right away, sometimes what you have to do is kind of just tap within the little circle that's beaming around from your avatar. If you're really lazy or just unfortunate to be in an area where there's just not really any Pokemon nearby, you can go ahead and use one of your incense. Now the incense lasts for about 30 minutes and you can catch anywhere between 4 to 6 Pokemon within that time. But again, I would save it, hold on to it for areas where there just really isn't much to catch, if anything at all. Lure modules work very similar to incense, except for they can only be installed at PokeStops. And as the name implies, it lures Pokemon to the stops, not only for you, but for other players as well. Another cool way to obtain Pokemon is actually through eggs, which you can sometimes get from PokeStops. Once you have an egg, you can throw it in an incubator, and the game provides you with one that can be used an unlimited amount of times, but through leveling up and purchase, you can get other incubators that break after 3 uses, but at least allow you to go ahead and try and hatch multiple Pokemon eggs at one time. Now there's 3 different instances for each of these eggs, which also affects their rarity. There's going to be a chart that's going to appear on screen. A lot of people swear by it. I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate, but it still might be helpful to give you an idea of what might hatch from your egg. For those of you trying to cheat the system by driving around, unfortunately that's not going to work quite as planned. Thanks to the GPS system, if you're going faster than 15 miles per hour, it's not going to register the steps that work towards hatching your eggs. In order for wild Pokemon to appear, or to get credit for the steps taken towards hatching a Pokemon egg, the game has to be on at all times. There is a way to go ahead and bypass that, and that's with the Pokemon Plus accessory, which is currently sold out. And what that'll do is connect to your phone through Bluetooth, and if there is a Pokestop or Pokemon to be got, you'll see a little light that'll appear on the accessory, and you go ahead and click on it to go ahead and collect the items or capture the Pokemon. Now that you found a Pokemon out in the wild, all you have to do is throw a ball at it. Please, for the love of God, just kind of flick your finger on the screen to throw the ball. Don't throw the phone. Now what you'll notice is on each Pokemon there'll be a large white circle with another inner circle that may be different colors and is constantly changing size. Now what the colors mean is the level of difficulty of capturing the Pokemon, with green being easy, yellow being a little bit more difficult, and then the reddish-orange being very difficult to catch. But don't be scared, because even a Pokemon with an orangish-reddish ring around it can still be caught. Now there's 2 ways of making this as easy as possible. The first way is the smaller the inner circle gets, the easier the Pokemon is to catch when you throw the ball. The second way is to spin it to win it! And what that means is you go ahead and spin that Pokeball until you see stars shooting off of it, and then launch it at the Pokemon you're trying to catch. You have to be careful though, as this tends to cause the Pokemon to kind of veer out of control in a curve. So it takes a little bit of time to kind of master it, but it greatly increases your chance of catching it. For those of you who played the early games, it's very similar to smashing down and AB, just like you should smash like and subscribe, and holding it in place until the Pokemon is caught. Not only that, but better balls such as the Great Ball and the Ultra Balls that you get at higher levels also help to catch Pokemon a little bit easier. Just bear in mind that every time you throw any of the balls, they're used upon being thrown. And don't trust the myth that's out there that you can go ahead and recover it just by tapping quick enough, because I'm quick on the draw and I got fat fingers and I haven't recovered a single ball, as you can see from that little clip. To make your Pokemon stronger and increase their combat power, you're going to need 2 things: Stardust and Candies. Now Candies play a little bit more into the role of evolving your Pokemon, if possible, as to where Stardust is more towards training your Pokemon. You should always be evolving your Pokemon whenever you can, as it only costs Candies and greatly increases the combat power of your Pokemon. If your Pokemon is unable to evolve, or is already fully evolved, Then go ahead and train your Pokemon by using 1 candy and some Stardust to increase it. Now, how much Stardust is needed changes as the Pokemon becomes more and more powerful. And the different ways you can get candies is through catching, hatching, and transferring Pokemon. To transfer Pokemon, you'll notice at the bottom of the screen when you're checking the status of your Pokemon, you'll go ahead and see that it says transfer. By clicking on that, you give the Pokemon over to Professor Willow, and in turn, he gives you 1 piece of candy. So keep in mind that you get 3 candies for catching Pokemon, 10 candies for hatching Pokemon, and only 1 candy for transferring Pokemon. As for Stardust, you have catching Pokemon, which nets you 100 Stardust every time, and hatching Pokemon, which gives you 800 Stardust every time. And the other way that you can get Stardust and candies is actually by leaving your Pokemon at gyms, and I'm going to get into that soon enough. Besides getting your Pokemon as powerful as possible, you also want to increase your own level as quickly as you can, and this can be achieved by a few different ways. Catching a Pokemon gets you anywhere between 100 to 600 experience. You're only going to get 100 if it's a previously caught Pokemon, 500 experience bonus if it's a newly captured Pokemon. Now there's still a little bit of debate on how much experience you're getting from hatching Pokemon, but for me it's been a consistent 200 XP. Evolving Pokemon gets you 500 XP. The amount of experience that you get from gym battles varies. Alright, now that you know how to gain experience, now I'm going to tell you how to gain experience easy. For some of you, it can be really annoying and even downright frustrating to constantly be running into and capturing Pidgey and Rattata, but they actually serve a great purpose to gaining easy XP. So as I mentioned before, you get 500 experience every time you evolve a Pokemon, and some of the easiest Pokemon to evolve is actually Pidgey, Weedle, and Caterpie. Now Rattata costs 25 candies to evolve and eradicate, but still gets you 500 XP, and considering how often you're probably going to be catching those little guys, shouldn't be too hard. So as I previously mentioned in items, you have lucky eggs. Now the beauty of lucky eggs is once you activate it for 30 minutes, all of your XP is doubled. The best time to use this, of course, to really maximize the amount of experience you're gaining in a very short period of time, is to go ahead and use it when you're in an area that you clearly can tell has a lot of Pokemon you haven't previously caught, and or when you have plenty of candies and those previously mentioned Pokemon that you can evolve. You can get some massive experience bonuses. At level 5, you are sorted into Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Gryffindor. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. No, I'm sorry. You're put into Team Instinct, Mystic, or Valor, and you get to choose between the 3 based on whether or not you agree with their philosophies from what limited amount they give to you. Or just going by a favorite color like I did. Now gyms will go ahead and pop up on the map just like PokeStops, although probably not in great a number. Gray gyms are blank and can be taken over right away by go ahead and placing your Pokemon there to defend it. Gyms with a color are owned by the team associated with that color, whether it be Instinct, Valor, or Mystic. You can fight opposing gyms to go ahead and gain XP as well as lower their prestige. Now during these fights, you can fight with up to 6 Pokemon. Lowering prestige decreases the gym's level, which in turn can also potentially lower the amount of people that are there to defend it. Once the prestige is lowered far enough below 2000, however, everybody's kicked out and that gym can be taken over. That gym in turn will be grayed out. You can go ahead and leave a single Pokemon there to go ahead and guard it. Now you can leave up to 10 different Pokemon at 10 different gyms, either as the leader or one of the defenders. And after 21 hours, each of those Pokemon that still remains at a gym nets you 10 Pokecoins, some Stardust, and some candies. If one of your own team gyms is filled up and you're unable to leave your Pokemon there, it can still be used to go ahead and train to boost prestige and gain XP. But the battles can only be fought with 1 Pokemon at a time. Unlike defeating Pokemon at an opposing gym, instead of lowering the prestige of a gym, it actually increases the prestige of a gym. On to the good part. How to battle Pokemon. Once you're in battle, you go ahead and attack by tapping your Pokemon, and it is not turn-based, so just tap away. You'll notice that your Pokemon's secondary attacks have a meter, either with a single or multiple bars. Once a bar is full, all you have to do is hold your finger on your Pokemon to use it. Now I know I said you can go ahead and just tap away because it's not turn-based, but you definitely want to make sure that you're dodging throughout the match. Dodge! Yeah, thanks. Dodge! I think we get it. Yeah, we understand. Dodging is important. And the way you dodge is by finally putting those Tinder skills to good use by swiping left or right. Now, dodging is a very important part of battle, and it's not exactly easy to master. It's all about timing, but there are going to be visual cues as to when the enemy Pokemon will attack, either based off of its movements, or you'll see different colors kind of fly up on the screen for special based attacks. A very important thing to consider when you're getting into Pokemon battles at gyms is type advantages. Now, there's too many types these days to really go over, and even with the first gen, it's much easier just to go ahead and show you a little picture of type advantages. It'll be here up on the screen. Pause it if you need to, and it'll show you what attacks are strong or weak against different types of Pokemon. Type advantages can be the difference between completely crushing your opponent or getting utterly destroyed if you're around the same combat power between your two Pokemon. Well, that about does it for this Pokemon guide. I hope it was more than useful and helps you to be the very best like no one ever was. Go ahead and feel free to leave a comment below in case there's anything I may have missed, or just let me know what you thought of the video. Thank you very much, and until next time.
Stop! Hammer time! I'm on fire!